closely at a modern commercial cannabis bud, and you'll see something that looks more like candy than a plant. The structure is incredibly dense, tightly packed, and entirely glazed in a thick layer of crystalline frosting. But if you rewind the clock 2 millennia, you find something nearly unrecognizable. The original wild plant was a thin, scraggly, leafy stalk. That ancient version smelled faintly like vegetation and produced barely enough psychoactive compounds to notice. Today's version hits the nose with sharp chemical aromas and carries staggering engineered levels of THC. Curious, how exactly does a rugged, leafy weed clinging to a mountainside turn into a crystallized, hyper-potent botanical anomaly? It doesn't happen by accident. Nature built the baseline, but human history took the wheel. Cultural migration and government prohibition physically hijacked the biological trajectory of the species. The story starts with landraces. These are the original indigenous cannabis varieties that spent thousands of years naturally adapting to very specific, isolated pockets of the globe. In the freezing, bone-dry mountains of the Hindu Kush, survival meant staying short and sturdy. The plants produced a heavy coat of sticky resin, specifically to protect their flowers from the biting wind and cold. Conversely, in equatorial regions like Colombia or Thailand, plants faced intense heat and heavy humidity. To survive there, they stretched out, growing tall and airy so the constant moisture wouldn't rot their stalks. These localized plants were genetically stable and distinct, but they maxed out at THC levels that modern consumers would consider practically non-existent. During this era, nature was the sole breeder. The entire genetic code was optimized for surviving the local weather, with zero biological concern for human intoxication. That strict geographical isolation broke entirely in the 1970s. Travelers journeying overland through Central and South Asia, a route known as the Hippie Trail, began collecting landrace seeds. They gathered genetics from these remote environments and brought them home to North America and Europe. When underground farmers started crossing those isolated mountain plants with the airy tropical varieties, they triggered a biological reaction called hybrid vigor. The offspring expressed the most dominant, resilient traits of both parents. Breeders could suddenly merge the fast, compact growth cycle of a mountain indica with the distinct cerebral effects of a tropical sativa. This intentional crossing birthed the foundational templates for modern strains like Northern Lights and Skunk No. 1. By manually moving seeds across continents, humans permanently rewrote the plant's genetic baseline. But the most extreme evolutionary pressure arrived in the 1980s. Strict government prohibition forced farmers to abandon open fields. To avoid detection, cultivation moved into the shadows, specifically into closets, basements, and warehouses. This new indoor environment demanded a different kind of plant. Growers aggressively selected seeds that would grow short to fit under low ceilings, flower quickly to speed up harvests, and smell less pungent to evade detection. To maximize tight spaces, they replaced living soil with hydroponics, placing roots in inert mediums and flooding them with nutrient-rich water. Fed by artificial light and a calibrated liquid diet, the biology went into overdrive. Growth rates exploded, producing massively increased resin. By trying to eradicate the plant, law enforcement inadvertently acted as an extreme evolutionary pressure. They forced humans to artificially engineer a highly concentrated, potent plant. Today, cultivation has moved from hidden basements into massive, highly optimized commercial breeding labs. We have entered the era of the polyhybrid. Cultivators are crossing complex hybrids with other complex hybrids to isolate highly specific commercial traits. This chart tracks average THC percentages from the 1970s to the 2020s. Once artificial selection took over, numbers spiked from single digits to over 30%. Modern breeders face capitalist pressures, focusing on isolating dessert-inspired terpene flavor profiles, like fuel or gelato, to drive sales. Because we've engineered this plant to such astronomical potencies, modern consumption requires newfound respect and caution. The chemical load in a single modern flower dwarfs what earlier generations ever encountered. The DNA of a modern cannabis plant is a living historical record. It documents 50 years of our own shifts in culture, politics, and commerce, written directly into the plant's genetic code.
What was I?